Good evening and welcome to the player draft for the Fly 2024, the world's first and we think best National Sixes Lacrosse League, showcasing the now confirmed Olympic version of the sport. Over the course of the draft, we'll be finding out the final makeup of the 8 teams competing at the 4th edition of the Fly, starting on the 11th of May at the Manchester Regional Arena. The Fly Draft 2024 is the second and final stage of the player selection process for this year's competition, and the next stage at which each head coach can select players for their roster. Following the protected player announcements last year, each team across the men's and women's competitions already has 4 players. With the Fly 2024 taking place over 4 game days in May and June, this year we'll once again see each squad have 15 players, with head coaches able to select 12 players for each matchday squad. This is to ensure the highest level of competition across the 4 dates and to give coaches the opportunity to switch things up across game days. During the draft, our head coaches will each make 11 player selections. Each competition has an available player pool from which the head coaches will make each of their team selections. And the order of the picks is as follows. The team who finished in 4th place at the Fly last year will receive the first pick, then 3rd place, 2nd place, and finally 1st place. The next round of selections will then run in the reverse order, starting with the team who finished 1st in 2023. We'll be alternating between the men's and women's draft 1 round at a time, starting with the men's first picks, then the women's first picks, and so on. Each team will have 30 seconds to make their pick, with this sequence continuing until all selections have been made in each of the competitions. I'm joined here at the draft by the head coaches for each team. So without further ado, let's start the Fly Draft 2024. We'll begin with the first picks in the men's competition, starting with Rise, who missed out on a 3rd consecutive title last year after losing to Hustle in the semi-final. Their coaches for this year are head coach Ash Gloucester, who returns to the competition after leading Hustle Women in 2021, and her assistant coach Alex Williams, who makes his The Fly debut in 2024. Ash Gloucester for Rise Men, who have you chosen as your first pick?
We've gone for Casey Hughes as our first pick.
The first pick for Rise Men is Casey Hughes. So Ash, why have you chosen Casey as your first pick?
We needed a goalie, and we were looking for someone who could be a great leader, who was a good shot blocker, and also really, really athletic. So we want Casey.
The next team to make their first pick is Forge Men, who finished 3rd in 2024 after losing out to Swift in their semi-final. They're led by head coach Kieran Pegram Milner, who steps up to head coach after spending 2 years as an assistant coach, first for Swift in 2022, then Hustle in 2023. He'll be joined by the Fly newcomer Alex Harper as his assistant coach. Kieran Pegram Milner for Forge Men, who is your first pick?
Our first pick for Forge is Tim Collins. The reason why, everyone we've spoken to absolutely raves about what a player he is. He's versatile and he's bringing exactly what we're looking for our team.
So the first pick for Forge Men is Tim Collins. Over to Swift Men for their first pick now. They narrowly missed out on their first The Fly title after a hard-fought final last year. Their coaches this year are the returning head coach Ravi K. Sitlani and his assistant coach and the Fly debutant Jacob Lynch. Ravi K. Sitlani for Swift Men, who's your first pick for the Fly 2024?
Hi, Swift Men would like to take Tommy Kirkland as their first pick, please.
The first pick for Swift Men is Tommy Kirkland. What do you think Tommy will add to your team, Ravi?
Tommy's a great leader. He has a lot of defensive knowledge, but he has probably the best sixes IQ in the game at the moment. And I'd also liken him to a bit of a Roy Keane, so he leads by example.
And our final men's first pick goes to Hustle Men, who are the reigning champions for the first time after defeating Swift in last year's final. They're led in 2024 for the 3rd time by head coach Sam Patterson and his assistant coach Sean Bodie. Sam Patterson for Hustle Men, who is your first pick?
For the first pick, Team Hustle would like to select Michael Pomfret.
The first pick for Hustle Men is Michael Pomfret. So Sam, why have you picked Michael first?
Super versatile player, can play both sides of the ball, but I think obviously he's known for his offensive prowess. He's a big physical specimen, and yeah, I think he'll bring a lot to our team.
Now we'll move on to the first picks for the women's competition, and we begin with Hustle Women, who finished 4th last year. Hustle are coached in 2024 by head coach Alex Carnegie-Brown, who joins Hustle Women after leading Forge Women to the title last year. Her assistant coach is Bryony Minetti, who coaches at the Fly for the first time. Alex Carnegie-Brown for Hustle Women, who is your first pick?
Our first pick this year is Georgie Southern.
The first pick for Hustle Women is Georgie Southern. Alex, why have you chosen Georgie as your first pick?
She's the obvious choice for us. She's got international pedigree. She's going to score fantastic goals. She's a really exciting player to be moving into sixes for the first time. I'm delighted to be able to snap her up.
Next up, it's Rise Women, led by head coach Raj Rout. Raj returns to the Fly after a stint as Swift Women head coach in 2022, and he's joined by assistant coach Amy Ratapana, who switches allegiances from Forge to Rise in 2024. Raj Rout for Rise Women, who is your first pick at the Fly 2024?
With its first pick, Team Rise would like to take goalkeeper, Team England, Katie Greenwood.
The first pick for Rise Women is Katie Greenwood. What's the thinking behind picking Katie first?
I think she's a phenomenal goalie, arguably the best in the UK, and a great goalkeeper to build a team around.
Selecting third, it's Swift Women to make their first pick, led by returning head coach Karina Bates, who's looking to go one step further than last year and win the Fly title in 2024. And her assistant coach, last year's Rise assistant, Steve McDermott. Karina Bates for Swift Women, who's your first pick?
First pick for Team Swift is going to be Alice Ripper.
The first pick for Swift Women is Alice Ripper. What do you think Alice will add to your team, Karina?
But she is a brilliant two-way midi and a workhorse, and she's going to bring a lot to Team Swift.
And our final first pick is by reigning champions in the women's competition, Forge. They're on the hunt for an unprecedented third consecutive title in 2024, and their coaching team appointed for this year is head coach Gavin Donaldson, stepping up to head coach after 3 years in assistant coaching roles, and his assistant coach, Connor Dockery. Both Gavin and Connor have been ever present at the Fly since its inception. Gavin Donaldson for Forge Women, who is your first pick?
So the first pick for Team Forge will be Sophia White.
The first pick.
The reason we picked Sophia, she's been a Team Forge player before. She's absolutely fantastic last year. Really good point scorer, and we're happy to have her back again.
Okay, so that's the first pick. So we'll move on to the second round, where we're reversing the picking order, meaning that we're going to start with Hustle Men. Hustle's already announced protected players are Hal Dwobeng, Dan Flisk, Alex Russell, and Drew Wilkinson. So Sam for Hustle Men, please name your second pick.
With the second pick, Team Hustle would like to pick Ryan Huns.
The second pick for Hustle Men is Ryan Huns. What are the reasons behind picking Ryan?
Wanted to pick a lefty up early in the draft just to kind of balance our offense. Ryan's a very, again, another versatile player. I think we've all seen it at the Rise in the Fly years previous, how creative he can be and some of the goals he can score. He can score something from nothing. So bring that experience to the team would be a huge asset to us.
Next to make their second pick is Swift Men. Their protected players this year are Dan Jones, Luke Mills-Doig, George Schomfeld, and Albert Whitehead. Swift Men, who is your second pick?
Swift Men would like to welcome back Danny Hilditch.
The second pick for Swift Men is Danny Hilditch. Why have you chosen Danny as your second pick, Ravi?
Danny's quite an attacking player. He's definitely got the Sixers vibe about him. He played in the first one for Swift, and I think he got player of the tournament in that. And he's coming back strong, and he's on the GB squad at the moment with us.
After Swift Men, it's Forge Men. Their protected players in 2024 are Lewis Alhage, Jack Allen, Tom Bracegirdle, and Jamie Powell. Forge men, please name your second pick.
Our second pick will be Dan Watson. The reason we picked Dan is he's shown what a class sixes player has been in the fly. I think for the last three flies. Same as Sam at Hustle, getting a lefty in quick. He brings in a really offensive style, but also again fits in with our game plan. So that's why he's there.
Okay, the second pick for Forge men is Dan Watson. And our final second pick for the men's teams is for Rise men, whose protected players this year are Will Prescott, Will Shirt, Cameron Major, and Drew Bickerton. So Rise men, who's your second pick?
Our second pick is Thomas Rosser.
The second pick for Rise men is Thomas Rosser. What will Thomas bring to Rise this year?
He's going to bring a ton of experience and leadership. He also be really crucial, kind of two-way player, but strong defensive voice too.
Next up, it's the second picks for the women's teams, starting with Forge women. Now, their protected players this year are Emily Chandler, Ella Cohen, Sarah Butler, and Liv Wimpenny. Forge women, please name your second pick.
For Forge Women, we'd like to take CC Green.
The second pick for Forge women is CC Green. What's the thinking behind picking CC?
CC is everything you want in a Sixers player. Feisty, she's quick, smart. She's developing that Sixers knowledge from when she's played for Team Swift previously, and she's going to be a fantastic asset to Team Forge.
Next up, it's Swift women, whose protected players this year are Tors Anderson, Emily Gray, Lottie Robertson, and Laura Warren. Swift women, who is your second draft pick?
The second pick for Team Swift is going to be Tilly Shires.
The second pick for Swift women is Tilly Shires. Why have you chosen Tilly as your second pick?
She's a huge threat on any lacrosse pitch. Big goal scorer, great two-way midi.
Now it's Rise Women's chance to make a second pick. Their protected players this year are Claire Farram, Emma Savage, Millie Home, and Anna Saunter. Rise Women, who is your second pick?
With our second pick, Team Rise is proud to select Julie Wise.
So the second pick for Rise Women is Julie Wise. What are your reasons for picking Julie, Raj?
She's a composed, experienced attacker, a lefty. I think she'll complement our style of play, good distributor to the ball, and a good finisher.
And the final second pick of the day goes to Hustle Women. Their protected players for 2024 are Chloe Chan, Minty Loxton Barnard, Emma Oakley, and Dylan Whittington. Hustle Women, who is your second pick?
Our second pick is Jenny Ayton.
The second pick for Hustle Women is Jenny Ayton. How will Jenny help your team at the Fly?
Jenny's an exciting goal scorer. We didn't score enough goals last year, so going for goals early in our draft. And she's a lefty, which I think brings important balance to a team.
Now it's time for round 3, with the picking order being reversed once again. So first up, it's Rise Men. Rise Men, who is your third pick?
For pick number 3, we are going for Ryan Sweetman.
The third pick for Rise Men is Ryan Sweetman. Why have you decided to pick Ryan?
Because he's an absolute machine and a workhorse. And yeah, we're looking forward to what he can bring for us.
Now it's time for Forge Men to make their third pick. Forge Men, please name your third pick.
Our third pick is going to be Tom Roper. Roper has just got better and better since we've seen him play throughout the years. And his recent inclusion with the GB squad in Hong Kong, he absolutely was fire on that. So great to be able to have him into the team.
So the third pick for Forge Men is Tom Roper. After Forge Men, it's Swift Men's turn. Swift Men, who is your third pick?
Swift Man would like to pick Elliot Hurry as their third pick, please.
The third pick for Swift Men is Elliot Hurry. Any reasoning behind picking Elliot?
Definitely need a goalie. Elliot is the best for the job. And yeah, he's just got back from Australia and he's back playing sixes. So yeah, I'm looking forward to having Elliot back in the cage.
And our final men's third pick goes to Hustle Men. Hustle Men, please name your third pick.
With our third pick, we'd like to pick Edward Loveland.
The third pick for Hustle Men is Edward Loveland. Why have you chosen Edward as your third pick, Sam?
So I played against him the last couple of years over at U1. Really impressed with his game. He's a really intelligent player that can play both sides of the ball, versatile with the ball in his stick and also off ball. So I think he's a good selection for us.
And let's move over to the third picks in the women's competition, and we'll start with Hustle Women. Hustle Women, who's your third pick?
Our third pick's going to be Anna Neville.
And the third pick for Hustle Women is Anna Neville. Any reasons for picking Anna?
Yeah, Anna's one of the best midfielders in the country at the minute, so I'm really excited to have her come play with Minty as two really strong midfielders for the team.
Next up, it's Rise Women's turn to pick. Rise Women, who have you picked as your third pick?
With our third pick, we'd like to take from Team Wales attacker Sophie Coombs-Roberts.
The third pick for Rise Women is Sophie Coombs-Roberts. What's the thinking behind picking Sophie?
She is a strong attacker with a clinical finish on her, and I think that we will benefit from having some of those combinations of the retained players and the ones that we selected to put together an excellent scoring offense.
Next up, Swift Women get their third pick. So Swift Women, who have you chosen as your third pick?
Our third pick is going to be Miho Sakori.
The third pick for Swift Women is Miho Sakuri. Why have you picked Miho?
I've heard nothing but great things about this player. She's a great worker, good goal scorer, and I'm really excited to have her as part of Team Swift.
And the final women's pick is by Forge Women. So Forge Women, please name your third pick.
So Forge Women for their third pick are going to take Harriet Mann.
The third pick for Forge Women is Harriet Mann. What will Harriet add to your team?
Harriet Mann's a very experienced player. She's a real hard worker. Just a great person in and around the squad and work with her.
Now on to the fourth round of picks, starting with the men's competition again and Hustle Men. So Hustle Men, who is your fourth pick?
With our fourth pick, we'd like to pick Thomas Brooks.
The fourth pick for Hustle Men is Thomas Brooks. The next fourth pick goes to Swift Men. So Swift Men, who have you chosen as your fourth pick?
Swift Men have chosen Ming Trin as their fourth pick.
The fourth pick for Swift Men is Ming Trin. Next up, it's Forge Men. Forge Men, please name your fourth pick.
Our fourth pick is going to be Taylor Harrison.
The fourth pick for Forge Men is Taylor Harrison. The final fourth pick goes to Rise Men. So Rise Men, who's your fourth pick at the Fly 2024?
Nathan Wilkinson.
The fourth pick for Rise Men is Nathan Wilkinson. Let's move on to the fourth picks in the women's competition now. And this time we'll start with Forge Women. So Forge Women, who is your fourth pick?
Forge Women for their fourth pick are going to take Laura Beeman.
The fourth pick for Forge Women is Laura Beeman. Next, it's Swift Women's turn to pick. So Swift Women, can you name your fourth pick?
Our fourth pick is Emma Brown.
The fourth pick for Swift Women is Emma Brown. Next up, Rise Women get their fourth pick. Rise Women, who is your fourth pick?
With our fourth pick and taken from the new player pool, Rise takes Charlie Wilson.
The fourth pick for Rise Women is Charlie Wilson. And the final women's fourth pick is by Hustle Women. So Hustle Women, please name your fourth pick.
Our fourth pick is going to be Zoe Dixon.
The fourth pick for Hustle Women is Zoe Dixon. We'll now move on to our fifth round of picks for the men's teams. Up first, it's Rise Men. Rise Men, who is your fifth pick?
Fifth pick is Grady Jackson Fail.
The fifth pick for Rise Men is Grady Jackson Fail. Next, it's Forge Men. Forge Men, please name your fifth pick at the Fly 2024.
Fifth pick is going to be Rob Harris.
The fifth pick for Forge Men is Rob Harris. After Forge Men, it's Swift Men. So Swift Men, who is your fifth pick?
Swift would like to pick Elliot Bickerton.
The 5th pick for Swift men is Elliot Bickerton. And finally, the last 5th pick in the men's competition goes to Hustle men. So Hustle men, please name your 5th pick.
For our 5th pick, we'd like to select Cole Palmby.
The 5th pick for Hustle men is Cole Palmby. Let's move on to our 5th round of picks for the women's teams now. And up first, it's Hustle women. Hustle women, who's your 5th pick?
Our 5th pick is going to be Hannah Thurston.
The 5th pick for Hustle women is Hannah Thurston. And then it's Rise women. So Rise women, please name your 5th pick at the Fly 2024.
With its 5th round pick, Team Rise takes Georgie Greenwood.
The 5th pick for Rise women is Georgie Greenwood. After Rise women, it's Swift women. Swift women, who's your 5th pick?
Lizzie Rutherford.
The 5th pick for Swift women is Lizzie Rutherford. And finally, the last 5th pick in the women's competition goes to Forge women. Forge women, please name your 5th pick.
Forge women are going to take Phoebe Smith.
And the 5th pick for Forge women is Phoebe Smith. We're now going to move on to our 6th round of men's picks now, starting with Hustle men. So Hustle men, who are you choosing as your 6th pick?
Team Hustle would like to select Will Brown.
6th pick for Hustle men is Will Brown. Next up, it's Swift men. Swift men, please name your 6th pick.
Swift man would like to pick Justin Wiesmer, please.
The 6th pick for Swift men is Justin Wiesmer. Now on to Forge men. Forge men, can you tell us who your 6th pick is, please?
Our 6th pick is going to be Jack Robinson.
The 6th pick for Forge men is Jack Robinson. And finally, the last 6th pick in the men's competition, it's Rise men. So Rise men, who is your 6th pick?
Our 6th pick is Matthew Shinefield.
The 6th pick for Rise men is Matthew Shanfield. And with that, we're going to have our 6th round of picks in the women's competition. Up first with Forge women. Who's your 6th pick?
Forge women for their 6th pick, we shall take Iona Westwood.
The 6th pick for Forge women is Iona Westwood. And then it's on to Swift women. So Swift women, please name your 6th pick.
Goalkeeper Sophie Allen.
The 6th pick for Swift women is Sophie Allen. Now on to Rise women. So Rise women, can you tell us who your 6th pick is, please?
With our 6th pick, Team Rise selects Alex Drew.
The 6th pick for Rise women is Alex Drew. So finally, the last 6th pick in the women's competition goes to Hustle women. Who is your 6th pick?
My 6th pick is Zoe Lovibond.
The 6th pick for Hustle women is Zoe Lovibond. On to the 7th picks in the men's tournament now, beginning with Rise men. Rise men, please name your 7th pick.
Our next pick is Josh Polk.
The 7th pick for Rise men is Josh Polk. Next up, it's Forge men. Who is your 7th pick, Forge?
Our 7th pick is going to be Dave Groves.
The 7th pick for Forge men is Dave Groves. Now on to Swift men for their 7th pick. Swift, can you tell us who your 7th pick is?
Swift would like to pick up Tom Hallam, please.
The 7th pick for Swift men is Tom Hallam. And finally, to complete the 7th men's picks for 2024, it's Hustle men. Hustle men, who is your 7th pick?
With 7th pick, I would like to select Joe Baythorpe.
The 7th pick for Hustle Men is Joe Baythorpe. And now the 7th picks in the women's competition for the women's teams. And we'll start with Hustle Women. So Hustle, please can you name your 7th pick?
Our 7th pick is going to be Chess Gray.
The 7th pick for Hustle Women is Chess Gray. Next up, it's Rise Women. Who is your 7th pick?
Team Rise selects from Team Wales midfielder Lulu Rowlands.
The 7th pick for Rise Women is Lulu Rowlands. Now on to Swift Women for their 7th pick. Swift Women, can you tell us who your 7th pick is, please?
Maeve McKenny.
The 7th pick for Swift Women is Maeve McKenny. And finally, to complete the 7th women's picks, it's Forge Women. Forge Women, who is your 7th pick, please?
Our pick from the new player pool is Izzy Edwards.
The 7th pick for Forge Women is Izzy Edwards. We'll now move on to our 8th round of picks for the men's teams. And up first, it's Hustle Men. So Hustle Men, who is your 8th pick, please?
With our 8th pick, we would like to select Jack Dearden.
The 8th pick for Hustle Men is Jack Dearden. And next up, it's Swift Men. Swift, please name your 8th pick at the Fly 2024.
Man would like to select Dan Goodwin, please.
The 8th pick for Swift Men is Dan Goodwin. After Swift Men, it's Forge Men. Forge Men, who's your 8th pick?
Our 8th pick is Ben Stringer.
The 8th pick for Forge Men is Ben Stringer. And finally, the last 8th pick in the men's competition goes to Rise Men. Rise, please name your 8th pick.
We'd like to go Max Wood.
The 8th pick for Rise Men is Max Wood. Let's move on to our 8th round of picks for the women's teams now. And up first, it's Forge. Forge Women, who is your 8th pick?
From Team Wales, would like to take Katie Lahofsky.
The 8th pick for Forge Women is Katie Lahofsky. Next up, it's Swift Women. Swift Women, please name your 8th pick at the Fly 2024.
Izzy Brand.
The 8th pick for Swift Women is Izzy Brand. And after Swift Women, it's Rise Women. So Rise, who is your 8th pick?
Team Rise takes goalie Livy Shellikins.
The 8th pick for Rise Women is Livy Shellikins. And finally, the last 8th pick in the women's competition goes to Hustle Women. Hustle, who is your 8th pick, please?
Our 8th pick is going to be Millie Hughes.
The 8th pick for Hustle Women is Millie Hughes. On to the 9th picks in the men's tournament now, beginning with Rise Men once again. Rise, please name your 9th pick.
We're going for James Holt.
The 9th pick for Rise Men is James Holt. Next up, Forge Men. Forge, who is your 9th pick, please?
Our 9th pick is Josh Phillips.
The 9th pick for Forge Men is Josh Phillips. Now, on to Swift Men for their 9th pick. Swift, can you tell us your 9th pick?
Swift would like to pick Will Goodwin, please.
The 9th pick for Swift Men is Will Goodwin. And finally, to complete the 9th men's picks for the Fly 2024, it's Hustle Men. Hustle, who is your 9th pick?
For our 9th pick, we'd like to pick Tom Roach.
The 9th pick for Hustle Men is Tom Roach. And now the 9th picks for the women's teams in the women's competition. And we will start with Hustle Women. Hustle, who's your 9th pick?
Our 9th pick is going to be Kai Harper.
The 9th pick for Hustle Women is Kai Harper. Next up, it's Rise Women. Rise, who's your 9th pick, please?
Our 9th pick is defender Team Wales Charlotte Williams.
The 9th pick for Rise Women is Charlotte Williams. Now on to Swift Women for their 9th pick. Swift, can you tell us your 9th pick?
Annabelle Noble.
The 9th pick for Swift Women is Annabelle Noble. And finally, to complete the ninth women's picks for the Fly 2024, it's for Forge. Forge women, who is your ninth pick?
We're going to take Isabel Mickelson.
The ninth pick for Rise women is Isabel Mickelson. So we're now going to move on to our 10th round of men's picks, starting with Hustle Men. Hustle, who are you choosing as your 10th pick?
With our 10th pick, can we select Jim Hartley, please?
The 10th pick for Hustle Men is Jim Hartley. And next up, it's Swift Men. So Swift Men, please name your 10th pick.
Swift Man would like to take Ben Buchanan, please.
The 10th pick for Swift Men is Ben Buchanan. Now on to Forge Men. Forge, can you tell us who your 10th pick is, please?
Our 10th pick will be George Jenkins.
The 10th pick for Forge Men is George Jenkins. And finally, the last 10th pick of the Fly 2024 draft, it's Rise Men. Rise, who is your 10th pick?
We're going to go for Will Alsop.
The 10th pick for Rise Men is Will Alsop. And with that, we're going to have our 10th round of picks in the women's competition. And up first, it's Forge. Forge women, who is your 10th pick?
For our 10th pick, we're going to take goalkeeper Harriet Brooks.
The 10th pick for Forge women is Harriet Brooks. Next up, it's Swift women. And Swift, please name your 10th pick.
Harley Tideswell.
The 10th pick for Swift women is Harley Tideswell. Now on to Rise women. Rise, can you tell us who your 10th pick is, please?
Yeah, with our 10th pick, we'd like to take Ellie Jones.
The 10th pick for Rise women is Ellie Jones. And finally, the last 10th pick in the women's competition goes to Hustle. Hustle women, who is your 10th pick?
Our 10th pick is going to be Lauren Lewis.
The 10th pick for Hustle women is Lauren Lewis. We'll now move on to our final round of picks for the men's teams. And up first, it's Rise. So Rise men, who is your final pick?
We're going Edward Hilditch.
The final pick for Rise men is Edward Hilditch. Next up, it's Forge men. Forge, please name your 11th and final pick at the Fly 2024.
The last pick is going to be MacGyver Hay.
The final pick for Forge men is MacGyver Hay. And after Forge men, it's Swift men. So Swift men, who is your last pick?
Swift Man would like to pick goalkeeper Aaron Davey, please.
The last pick for Swift men is Aaron Davey. And finally, the final pick in the men's competition for the Fly 2024 goes to Hustle men. So Hustle, please name your 11th pick.
For Hustle's 11th pick, we would like to select Joshua Clegg.
The 11th pick for Hustle men is Joshua Clegg. So let's move on to our last round of picks for the women's teams. And up first, it's Hustle. Hustle women, who is your final pick?
We'd like to take goalkeeper Eleanor Williams, please.
The last pick for Hustle women is Eleanor Williams. Next up, it's Rise. So Rise women, please name your final pick for the Fly 2024.
Last pick for the 2024 draft is Nancy Day.
The final pick for Rise women is Nancy Day. After Rise women, it's Swift women. So Swift women, who is your final pick?
Amy Ivy.
The final pick for Swift women is Amy Ivy. And finally, the final pick in the women's competition goes to Forge women. So Forge, please name your final pick.
Okay, so for Forge's final pick, we will take Phoebe Thornett.
The final pick for Forge women is Phoebe Thornett. So there you have it. Our teams have each drafted 11 players to be added to their 4 protected players, taking their total number of players to 15 each. And that brings the conclusion to the Fly Draft 2024. A little reminder for you that the dates and venues for this year's Fly are Saturday the 11th of May at the Manchester Regional Arena, Saturday the 18th of May back at Roslin Park FC in London, and then at Roslin Park once again for finals weekend on Saturday the 1st and Sunday the 2nd of June. And tickets are going to be on sale really soon, and we cannot wait, so we'll see you there.